Welcome to another sustainability podcast with me, Toby Webb, and joining me again is Mark Haverlach, who is Customer Service and Re-Entry Director for Europe for Interface. So welcome back, Mark.
Thank you. Good to be here.
In this podcast, we're going to talk a bit about your work on sustainable logistics and transport here at Interface, because clearly moving carpet tiles around has a major impact, particularly with a circular economy approach where you've got to pick them up again as well. So you're doing 2 or 3 journeys perhaps. Talk us through the Interface approach to this.
The interface approach actually started, and it's a difficult term, it started with the life cycle analysis, where we found that of our footprint, about 10% is caused by our transportation. And already years ago, there was a question from our executive team that said, okay, we want to have sustainability embedded in our logistics distribution strategy across Europe. What we found at that time, and then we're talking about, let's say, 2006-ish, what we found at that time in the Netherlands and in Europe, that this was a completely new discussion for logistics. It's a very traditional industry where they are focused on short term, and price is actually the only variable that where decisions are taking on. So when we started engaging the market, and we were talking about, we want you to make a profit, and we want you to become innovative, and we want you to be a leader in the industry, there was a lot of distrust. So people didn't trust Interface because they said, in the end, it's only about money. And then we started explaining them how important logistics is in let's say, the world of sustainability, what impact that has for companies, not only Interface, but also other companies. And step by step, we were in the process of changing that market and make sure that sustainability was on the radar of these logistics companies.
So I saw a truck outside your offices here in the Netherlands yesterday. How sustainable is that truck, and where will it be in 5 years?
That truck at the moment, because you have to realize that we don't have our own trucks, so we work with partners, and where we put a lot of effort in is making sure that we select the right partners. And we developed a new way of, let's say, selecting tendering tool, where we select the partners using a great number of sustainability variables. So we wanted to know from these partners what kind of trucks they had, how sustainable were these trucks, were the latest models trucks, were the most efficient engines that they were using, all kind of detailed questions. And based on that, we selected the partners. What you see nowadays is that we still have, let's say, a lot of trucks driving on diesel fuel. But what you see in these companies is that they are constantly training their truck drivers to drive as efficiently as possible. We call that the new driving methodology. And big results have been, or huge results have been already realized, where the usage per kilometer goes down tremendously. So that's the first step. Is that we want to reduce, because we're still dependent in the logistics on those diesel fuels, we want to reduce the fuel consumption. What we also ask, and that's more the future bit, and it's happening actually now, is that we say we want transport companies to invest in alternative fuels. And then you have to reckon with alternative fuels in terms of electricity. You can think about gas, biogas, green gas kind of constructions. That happened already in 2007, 2008. We are still working with the same companies that we selected at that time. So it's a long-term relationship.
And which are those companies?
Which are in terms of names?
Yeah. Are there any, TNT and others have made a big deal about sustainability?
You won't find the big transport companies in our scope. What we determined already in that period is that we say we can go for the companies that have a clear vision about sustainability, but are having trouble in executing that. Or we can go for the mid-sized companies, where we talk to the owners of these companies and convince them about our strategy towards sustainability. And when they grasp the story, they can take decisions immediately. So actually we choose for the second one. So if I now talk to, let's say, a transportation company, I talk to the director owner, and when he believes it's a good idea, he can make the call to invest in, for example, as we now have in the Netherlands, a truck that drives on green gas. If you want to do it in TNT and make sure that it's also allocated to you, you will find that it is much more difficult from an interface perspective, because we talk to an account manager that has to need to talk to his boss, that will need to talk to, let's say, the logistics, the operation side of it. So really follow the strategy that we focus on mid-sized companies where we can really go into an execution mode.
So you can create your own kind of ecosystem in a way of companies you work with where you can have influence.
Yeah, because what we even go a step further, and that's that we say we want you to become a sustainable company. So we, of course, their biggest impact is in the driving, but what we also want is that they look, for example, at their warehouses. Can they put sun roofs on top of their warehouse, sun collectors? Can they use electrical internal means of transport? And if you, and I was very proud to demonstrate, let's say, if I give presentations to the market to demonstrate, these are our transport companies. So I can show pictures what they are doing in terms of investments, new innovation in long trucks, which are the most dynamic trucks you can think of, alternative fuels like green gas. So I'm always really proud to talk about our transport companies and what they're doing to help interface, actually, to become, of course, sustainable companies themselves, but also help interface in our quest to become a sustainable company.
So talk to me a bit about diesel and biogas, because diesel not only has obviously high carbon emissions and is expensive, it also emits particulate matter. And
Yeah.
you know, I live in London and we have a huge problem with diesel engine pollution. London breaks all of the air pollution limits all the time and somehow seems to still get away with it. That's probably another story. But how are you managing that long transition from something like diesel into something like biogas?
We actually have a two-side strategy to that. We focus on international transport, but that's very efficient from an utilization point of view. So we focus on multimodal transportation, where we transfer our product from the road to the rail. So all our transports to Italy go by rail. Transports in the Netherlands to the port of Rotterdam from our factory will go by barge, which is using the canals to transport, let's say, the material. For the city centers, and that's where a big chunk of our business is, for London, Paris, etc., we focus on air quality. Because there you can, it's actually both, but air quality is, let's say, if we do something on particular matters now, it will have a direct effect. If we talk about CO2 emissions reduction, that's a long-term effect. So we are talking about, let's say, improving the air quality. And with green gas, for example, it has a direct impact on your air quality, because the particulate matters are so much lower. And what we do is also talking to the government about this. So, okay, we want to also educate the government and explain to them, okay, this is what is possible in the industry, and hopefully condition them in a way that they will take, let's say, their policies to another level, where they will focus more and more on, for example, city distribution and air quality, and how can then the transport companies, we don't like, let's say, the punishment, but we rather see, let's say, that we get extra access to cities if you have, let's say, your clean trucks in place. So it's more, let's say, trying to make it positive for the companies that invest in these kind of solutions.
So where are we with greener gas, with biogas and replacements for diesel? How many, what percentage of your logistics are able to use this, and where will that be in a few years' time?
At the moment, it's very, very small, but it mainly has to do with infrastructure, and not so per definition with let's say the range that trucks can drive with it. It's more in the electrical kind of area discussion. But for green gas, it's just about infrastructure. And you have to think about, in the Netherlands, the distances are pretty small. So if you only have one place for a transport company, and it could be at his own warehouse where he has an installation where he can refuel its trucks, it's a really viable solution. In London, it's more about, do you want to have, let's say, a gas installation? It could be compressed natural gas or liquefied natural gas in London area. So that's what we are investigating together with the local government. But yeah, I believe in gas, and also the technology, but that's more what I've been told. The technology from gas to green gas to hydrogen kind of solutions is a technology that is really in line. So it's not a big change in technology. And yeah, we are exploring, of course, different routes. But I believe that gas has a big future. And we are now having, also in terms of prices, so we don't pay extra. It's just for the same price as for fuel.
Where does it come from? What's it made of? Who's selling it to you?
Who's selling what?
The green gas.
It's all the transport companies that take care of it. So
Okay. But where do they get it from?
they get it either from, let's say, local energy companies, but they are also trying to create their own biogas, where it's all regional kind of solutions that they set up.
And some of this is made of things like food waste and so on.
At the moment, to be honest, I'm not sure, but they are working on process where it's made from waste from fruit, let's say, which they put into a kind of process that generates then the biogas. So there's a lot of things happening in that area, and we are at the beginning of this, but we saw it also with technology in the trucks, where you have different kind of engines. If the industry picks it up and sees that it is viable from, let's say, a sustainability cost perspective, then it can go very rapidly. And that means if you talk to the mid-sized companies, which the majority of the transport companies are, yeah, it can really, in the next few years, develop to a mature solution.
So there isn't really a magic bullet of one particular technology that will be the future. It's localized solutions and different solutions for different places.
For me, sustainability is local. If we talk about either our take-back scheme, if you talk about handling waste, if you talk about logistics, it's all local, regionally. I don't believe in pan-European solutions, because there is so much difference in infrastructure, technology. So I'm focusing on a diversified portfolio where we have lots of solutions, so that if one solution doesn't work out, that we are then back to scratch, but that we can then go to, let's say, the next solution that we are already worked on. So the diversified portfolio in combination with a local approach is our strategy.
Mark, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.